Good morning, everybody. I have had several requests from parents regarding math, vocabulary, and the way that we do division in particular. So, what I decided to do, it's really dark, isn't it? Let me see if I can turn on a light. What I decided to do, that help? Oh, that's a little better. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a quick video that shows how we are doing division in this classroom. There are many different ways to do division, and in all of the years that I've taught, I've gone through multiple um, math curriculums, and each of them changes something slightly so that their curriculum is original. Ultimately, I teach the way that our curriculum currently wants us to teach it, but I also go back to my tried and true method, which I know works because that's the way that I have been teaching it. And through all of the morphs of math, this is the one kind of somewhere in the middle that seems to work the best. So I do teach it the way that our book is currently teaching it, but I also give the students an alternative if they find that their brains work the same way mine does and this works a little bit better. This one is also interesting and fun because it has a mnemonic with it, which third graders really seem to enjoy. The mnemonic is dangerous monkeys sling bananas randomly. And that tells us the steps to go through when we are doing our long division. And I have it up here on my wall. Let me make sure I can show it to you. Dangerous monkeys sling bananas randomly. And I even put a cute little picture there at the bottom so the kids can kind of remember. And that's a copyrighted picture. I didn't draw that myself, but it has all that copyright information at the bottom. So I'm good there. I'm going to walk you through a couple problems. The first couple are going to be really, really simple. And you might say to yourself, well, why do we even need to use long division for that? The reason we start out with the simple problems with the kids is so that they already know the answer to the problem. So when they're looking at it, as they walk through it, they can say, oh, okay, yeah, now I get it. So the first one that we're going to start out with is 14 divided by 2. Pretty easy. We already know the answer to this one, but we're still going to use the same method because we want the students to be able to understand how to sort these out. So 14 divided by 2. The first thing we do, dangerous monkeys sling bananas randomly. Let's go ahead and put that here. Dangerous monkeys sling bananas randomly. Okay, the first D is division. So the first thing you do is divide. You look at the first number underneath your house or your tent or whatever it is, the terminology that you want to use to call that. I always call it the little house. This is the divisor. This is the dividend. This will be our quotient. That is the terminology that we use with our students. Divisor, dividend, quotient. The quotient is the answer in a division problem. The dividend is the number that you're dividing. The divisor is the number that you are dividing the dividend by. I don't even know how to say that to make it sound better. So we start out with the first digit. 2 goes into 1. Can you divide 1 by 2? No, you cannot. 2. Our next step is to multiply. 2 times 0. Well, that's 0. Our next step is to subtract. 1 minus 0 is 1. Our next step is to bring down. That's our bananas. So we bring down the 4. I know this is a lot of steps to do a simple problem that we can easily do in our head, but we do this so that the students can then understand how to do the more complicated problems. Now, the next number is 14 that we're working with. 14 divided by 2. How many times does 2 go into 14? 7 times. We know the answer to that one. We knew the answer right at the beginning. 2 times 7, because now we're multiplying. Oh, I'm sorry. The R means to repeat. Repeat, or at the very end, it's your remainder. So 2 times 7, that's 14. Subtract. 4 minus 4 is 0. 1 minus 1 is 0. Bring down. Oh, there's nothing left to bring down. So that means whatever we have left is our remainder. We check it. Our remainder, is it less than our divisor? It is. We know that we are done. Our answer for this problem is 7. Okay, that was a very simple one. Now let's do one where we will have a remainder and where the kids may not know the answer right off the bat. Let's go with 63 divided by 2. 63 divided by 2. Same thing. Divide. Start with the first digit because it's digit by digit. We do each individual digit, even if we already know the answer. I already know the answer to this, and most of you parents do as well, because we did short division and we did it very quickly. But the way we teach it is we teach everything as long division. That way they can do the difficult problems. And when we get to difficult problems, they aren't difficult anymore. So first digit is 6. How many times does 2 go into 6, or 6 divided by 2? Well, that's 3. Monkeys, which means we multiply. 2 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6. Sling, that means we subtract. 6 minus 6 is 0. Bananas, bring down. We bring down the 3. Then we repeat. That's what the randomly means, repeat. Okay, how many times does 2 go into 3? Well, it doesn't go in there evenly. So if this were, most of our students know immediately, well, that just goes in there one time. If it were a larger number, and they would have to think, if it maybe were a 7 and a, a 26, they would have to stop and think. And some of them have to actually go through the multiplication tables because they don't know them yet. So there's 7 times 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 is too much. I know that it only goes in there one time. That's my division. Next, we multiply. 2 times 1. 2 times 1 is 2. Then we subtract. 3 minus 2 is 1. Then we bring down. Oh, nothing left to bring down. Okay, that means that my answer is now my remainder. There are 2 ways that you can write this. One way, and that's probably the way that we learned, is to write it this way. Remainder 1. 31, remainder 1. The way that we teach our students to write these, because this helps them to formulate the entire problem in their head, and it will help them as they move on through, especially through classical education. It will help them because we work with fractions quite a bit. So this helps them as they are already starting to formulate fractions, and they can see how fractions are formed. So what we do is we rewrite this. We write it this way because that's the standard form, and that's the way that our book is asking us. This is the quotient, this is the remainder, or the Q and the R, but we also write them this way. The quotient, this equals the same thing, 31, and then we're going to put our remainder in a fraction. The fraction always has the remainder on top. That's what's left over. Remainder on top, and the divisor always goes on the bottom. 31 and 1/2. Now you might be wondering, why is this so important that they learn to do this in fractions? It's important that they learn to do this in fractions is because with this number, they 100% know what the original problem was with that number. They know when I worked with this problem, this was my quotient, and this is my remainder. But I also have my divisor. If I have if I have 2 parts of the problem, the dividend, the divisor, the quotient, if I have 2 of those pieces, I can come up with the other piece. So by writing the answer as a fraction, the students now know the original problem. Okay, well, I have my quotient. That's the answer in a division problem. I have my remainder. My remainder is 1. And I have my divisor. So the only thing I'm missing is what's divided by 2? That gives me 31. The students know that you would just multiply these 2 together and add that one in. That's why it's cool to write them as fractions. All right, let's do one more that's not quite as simple. and one that our students easily can do once they have these steps down. Dangerous monkeys sling bananas randomly. Once they know that, once they get that in their heads, they can do any of these problems. So even if we had a problem that was as complicated as 2,651 divided by, we better use 4 because it might go into 3 evenly. No, actually it wouldn't. But we're going to use 4. We're going to use a different number. Same thing, digit by digit. 4, how many times does 4 go into 2? It does not. Multiply, 4 times 0 is 0. Subtract, 2 minus 0 is 2. Bring down, 26. How many times does 4 go into 26? This is the example I was telling you about earlier where some of our students need to walk through. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 6 is 24. Still not enough. 4 times 7 is 28. Oh, that's too much. So I know it's got to be 6. 4 times 6, 24. Subtract. 6 minus 4, 2. 2 minus 2, 0. Bring down. Whoops, didn't make my line long enough. Bring down that 5. How many times does 4 go into 25? Well, if the student remembers the problem that they just did, they'll know, oh, wait, I did 4 times 6 to get 24. That's very close. I know it's going to be another 6. 4 times 6 is 24. 5 minus 4 is 1. 2 minus 2 is 0. Bring down that 1. Okay, how many times now does 4 go into 11? 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. That's too much. We know it's only 2 times. 4 times 2, 8. That's why we want our students to know their multiplication facts so they don't have to walk through each one, where they can look at the number and say, oh, I'm pretty sure that's going to be 2. Now we're subtracting. 11 minus 8 is 3. Is there anything left to bring down? Nope. So now we know that what we have is our remainder, but we always double check it. 3. Is 3 less than 4? Yes, it is. So that's a legitimate remainder. So we can write this one this way with a remainder of 3, or we can write this whole thing as a fraction, 662. Our remainder always goes on top. Our divisor always goes on bottom. 662 3/4. So with this method, dangerous monkeys sling bananas randomly, your students can solve very, very difficult problems. They could even do it if it was double digits, triple digit divided by double digit. They could even do that because they would work out the multiplication that way. I hope this helps some of you parents out with the terminology. Quotient, remainder, dividend, divisor. The remainder always goes on the top of the fraction. The divisor always goes on the bottom of the fraction. The quotient always goes outside. I hope that helps you out. If you still have questions, go ahead and email me and I can answer more specific questions. But I'm going to share this video to Parent Square so that you can kind of look through it and see if you have any other questions about what we're doing in math right now, because we are working on division right now. You guys have a great day. I'll see your kids pretty soon. Bye.